The real estate sales could be the vehicle that can help you to help a lot of people make a ton of money, build a lot of long-lasting relationships, and give you access to so many opportunities that will allow you to have the freedoms and flexibilities to enjoy the life to the fullest. What's going on, my friends? And welcome to another episode of Alan Kay Show. And today's conversation, guys, is perfect for the new year. And I want to share this episode with you guys. It's all about how you can make an additional $100,000 in the next 100 days as a real estate agent. Now, before I start, guys, if you're new to the channel or the podcast, my name is Alan Kushmarkov, and I've been a business owner for 20 years. Been in the real estate industry for close to 11 years now. I started my real estate career back in 2013. Sold personally 500 homes, about $175 million in sales. Ran a team, and about 3.5 years ago started a brokerage with a handful of agents and hired over 300 agents in the last 3.5 years. So all of these lessons that I'm sharing with you guys are the lessons that I went through myself or had a privilege and a fortune to work with, to mentor and coach agents, team leaders, as well as brokerage. So before we jump in, guys, I want to share a quick story about myself, what I went through as a brand new agent about 10 years ago, guys. And this is really, like, if you think about it, one of the main reasons why I'm sharing this story with you guys and the topic that we're having today is because, like, most of us in real estate, we're kind of like winding down our business for this year, right? You have agents that are kind of planning for a year ahead for next year. They're doing some self-reflection. They're going through what they have accomplished, what they have achieved, and the things that they possibly missed out on. You also have some agents that are crushing it still. You know, I spoke to an agent yesterday from Florida, and for them, it's the busy season. So he doesn't have any time at all to reflect or think about the future. But there are also, let's face it, there are agents out there that are not sure what they're going to be doing next year, right? With the economy the way it's been in the last 1.5 to 2 years, with the real estate market, you know, with all these uncertainties and all these negativities that are coming our way, whether it's the rates, shortage of inventory, the lawsuits, there are a bunch of other things, right? Agents are hurting. I own a brokerage, as I mentioned to you guys, and unfortunately, we have some agents, you know, that, you know, used to do, let's say, 20 deals, now barely doing 10 deals. Or those agents that used to do 10 deals barely do 5 deals. And this is just a reality of the situation. And this is happening everywhere. So I want to share with you guys a quick story, what I went through in my second year of business. So the first year of business, the first 5 or 6 months was really, really tough. And you probably heard that story. Finally, I started generating some business. We closed 16 transactions. I closed 16 transactions, guys. And the second year started with a bang. I remember my first month, I closed 5 deals. My second month, I closed 4 deals. My third month, I closed 6 transactions. And I was just rolling. I was on pace to close like 45 or 50 deals in my second year. And at the last quarter of 2014, the fourth quarter, suddenly something happened where I said to myself, you know what? I think I'm working way too hard. I'm doing well. I got 4 deals in an escrow. You know what? I'm going to take it easy. I'm not really going to be prospecting the way I've been doing for the last 1.5 years. I'm not going to be holding open houses. I'm going to take a couple of vacations. You know what? I've been working really, really hard for the last 1.5 years or so. At the same time, we bought a house. We were furnishing the house. There was just so many other things that were happening. Again, a lot of them are good things. So instead of me really continuing to have my foot on the gas pedal, if you will, what I was doing is I was taking it easy. Relying again on these 4 transactions and about 5 or 6 listings that will be coming down the pike in the beginning of the year. And I'm sure some of you can relate to it. Never assume things are going to happen. And here's what happened in reality. Out of those 4 listings, 3 of them fell out of escrow. Literally within like a 30-day time frame, 3 of them fell out of escrow. And they're all were supposed to close in the mid to end December. Out of those 4 or 5 listings that I had coming up in January, most of them decided to wait. One of them actually decided to list with somebody else. And a couple of other ones just decided to kind of list it with somebody else, right? So it was just one of those things, one after another, where all of those listings that I was counting on in the beginning of the year didn't come to fruition. So I had to make a decision at that point of time. All right, what do I do? It's the beginning of the year, right? What do I have to do in order to get my business up and running as quickly as possible, or jump-starting my business as quickly as possible? And I applied this framework then, and I want to share this framework with you guys now. And this is the same framework and tactics that I've been sharing with my agents and my coaching clients as well in the last 4 or 5 years, right? And this is something I hope will help you as well. Whether you are an agent that's trying to get your business to the next level, congratulations with that. Whether you're an agent that may be struggling and is looking for some consistency in their business, or maybe you're an agent that is about to give up, right? And I want to share this with you guys so this way, hopefully it will serve you as well. So let's get started, guys. The first thing that we need to really be clear about is actually having a clarity. In a fog of uncertainty, clarity is #1 thing, okay? And here's what I mean by that. When I meet with the agents, let's say it's a brand new agent or it's a struggling agent but has experience, one of the first questions I ask that agent is, why are you in real estate? What got you into the real estate? Why are you selling real estate? The reason I ask that question is because a lot of times we go through the motions of business or life and we forget the reason why we got into this field in the first place. Right? And there are many different answers. I mean, some answers are, well, you know what, Alan, I wanted to make more money. Some has to do with the fact that I wanted to just get a side gig or a side job. Some agents are basically like, well, you know what, I like to show homes. Whatever the reason is, right? The first things first is like, why are we doing what we're doing? Most of the time it comes back to, I want to make more money and I want to help more people. But why though? Why is it important for you to make more money? Is it because the fact that you need to pay your bills? Is it because the fact that you want to spend some time maybe with your loved ones and take maybe another vacation or 2? Is it the fact that maybe you want to buy an investment property or buy a first home? Whatever that reason is, before we do anything else, we need to be crystal clear in terms of why we're doing what we are doing. The second question I ask is, cool, awesome. What is your offer to the client that you're trying to work with? What are you offering them? What is your value proposition? Why should that buyer or seller or an investor work with you? Like, there's so many agents out there. I mean, there are 1.5 or 1.6 million agents out there nationally. In my state, we have over 40,000 agents. We're in Arizona. And why should the buyer or the seller work with you versus, let's say, Mr. Joe or Mr. Bill or someone, for example, that is across the street, you know, from you as a real estate agent? So we got to be able to be very, very crystal clear in terms of our value proposition. What are we offering? What helps us to stand out? How are we different from another agent across the street? Okay? So really identify that why. And this can be, by the way, a 5-minute answer, or that can be like a 5-day answer. This is going to be your elevator pitch. And you're going to have maybe a different pitch for, say, for a buyer versus the seller, right? But you got to know why a client should be giving their business to you instead of giving it to someone else. So number 3, guys, again, we just covered why we're in real estate in the first place, which is very important to get that clarity. Number 2, you got to create a compelling offer, why they should work with you and give you a chance to work with them. That's very important as well. And number 3 now is like, okay, where do you find your clients, or how do you find them, right? These are the lead sources. There's so many different ways of generating leads, right? The way I look at the leads are kind of like twofold, right? You have short game leads and also long game leads, right? The short game leads are the ones that are like expireds, cancels, for sale by owners, open houses, right? Those are kind of like low-hanging fruit. Like, I started my business by calling expireds, cancels, for sale by owners. They come every single day in a database, right? You can call them, you can have a conversation, you can even book that meeting that day or the next day. You go there, you get a listing. Now, yes, it sounds too easy to be true, but you know what I mean by that. It gives you an opportunity to get in front of seller in the next 24 to 48 hours. Same thing, for example, with open houses. We have agents that are crushing with open houses, but I also have conversations with the agents that tried open houses in the past and they did not have a great experience with it. Now, I don't know how long they tried it. I don't know what their methods that they use to generate open house leads in general. But if you really think about it, like, and I say this to my agents all the time, if you right now pick me up and drop me off in a town or a city or a state that I'm not familiar with, like I don't have my sphere, I don't have my past client database, like I don't even have any money for marketing, right? The one thing that I would do from day one, I would reach out to every listing agent in that town and I ask them to hold open houses on their listings. And I would do open houses every single day. Like, we are going to 9 to 5 to work every day, 5 days a week. I would do exactly the same thing with open houses. Why do I like open houses? Because it's probably one of the most effective ways to get in front of buyers or potential sellers face to face. Picture it, and the analogy, perfect analogy would be, let's say, for example, you have a store, right? And if that store is closed, well, the customers are not walking into that store. But if that store is open and it's open from 9 to 5, 5 days a week, there's a good chance, there's a good likelihood that you're actually going to get customers walking in. When those customers walking in, if you do your part in presenting the product or the service, they're going to become buyers. Okay, it's the same thing with open houses. So what I love about open house is the fact that again, you're meeting with people face to face. It doesn't really cost you that much money at all. In fact, my first open house that I did, it was not my listing. I did not even have my own signs. I borrowed signs from the listing agent, right? And I remember my first open house, I actually picked up a client who was also a seller. So not only a buyer, but also a seller, right? But it also gives you the opportunity to build your pipeline, as well as network and build relationships with the homeowners in that neighborhood, right? So whether it's expireds, cancels, for sale by owners, open houses, I call that a now business. It's a short game. It's a short play that you can run to really jumpstart your business as quickly as possible. Now, the long game can be, for example, geo farming. It can be social media branding, which is, by the way, very important. I see more and more agents getting into the social media game, right? They're building their brand. They're promoting their services. All of that is super, super important. If you think about it, right, guys? Like, at the end of the day, you want to be attracting buyers and sellers into your world. You don't want to be chasing them. There's that saying, amateurs chase, professionals attract. But it takes time to develop that following. It takes time to get those likes and, comments. It will take time for them actually become your clients. And some of us don't have that time. Some of us, we have to take care of our bills. We got to pay our mortgage. And it has to be happening now versus 6 months or 7 months from now. So pick a lead source, guys, that will get you the results quicker, right? And in my opinion, and from my experience, I think going with open houses or expires or cancels, as well as for sale by owners, that's another one, guys. If you think about it, for sale by owners already raised their hand and they're like, man, you know what? I want to sell my house. Now, granted, most of them want to sell it on their own, which is fine, but also most of them will list with an agent at the end of the day, right?
And every single neighborhood, every single market in America has for sale by owner listing right now. And most of the time, after a week or 2 or 3, you will see that listing listed with an agent. Most of them for sale by owners, you can call them. They will answer their phone. Most of them will actually be perfectly fine and have you over their house, right? And as long as you know how to build and develop a rapport with them, and then lead with value and present that irresistible offer, that compelling offer, there's a chance, and I'm not saying this is going to be like an 80 or 90 or 100% chance, but there's a chance for you to secure that listing. And imagine if you do this 2 or 3 times a week. How many listings can you get a month? 1 listing, possibly 2 listings. And if each listing can generate you $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in commissions, that's a lot of money. You can make $100,000, $150,000 in the next 100 days or so. So the last thing about the lead generation, guys, is the fact that you got to give it some time. This cannot happen overnight. We cannot expect to see the results in the first week or 2. Yes, that would be great. That would be ideal, and it may happen here or there. But at the end of the day, anything that is worthwhile will take time. Ideally, you want to give it at least 2 to 3 months to this, to any lead source. Because any lead source that you're going to focus on, right, you got to master your skills, right? You got to go through the repetitions. And within those repetitions, you got to improve on those iterations, right, to get you better and better and better and better, right? It took me 6 months when I just got into the real estate. It took me 6 months to get my first listing. My gosh, it was a $100,000 listing, but it felt like it was $1 million listing. It was a $2,500 commission check, but it felt like it was a $25,000 commission check, right? But for 6 months, I was pounding and pounding and pounding the phones, getting rejected left and right until I was finally able to get a listing, right? So that's the way we got to look at it. We cannot think about it as something that we're going to do today or tomorrow, hold 1 or 2 open houses next week or 2, and miraculously start getting sellers or buyers coming in. That's just not really the case most of the time. So patience is the virtue. All right, guys, so just to recap, the first thing that we discussed is the fact that we want to make sure that we have that clarity in a fog of uncertainty. The second thing we talked about is the fact that we got to have an offer, an irresistible offer, so you can stand out from all of that competition out there. The third thing we talked about is the fact that you got to be able to know where to find these clients, right? And the 2 lead sources, the main lead source that we discussed. All right, guys, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is getting your house in order, right? We all got bad habits. We all got things that we can improve on. We got the things in our lives right now, whether it's on a professional side of things or on a personal side of things, that are really holding us back from achieving the results, achieving the targets that we set for ourselves, right? We're probably operating with 2 versions of ourselves. We have a version number 1, ourselves. That is the version that is kind of holding us back. And then we're trying to get to the version number 2, right? So the way to get to the version number 2 is to remove all of these obstacles, all of these bad things that we're doing to ourselves, right? In order for us to get to version number 2. So that's something that you got to figure out, what it is that is holding you back, that is not really helping you to get to the next level. And that can be personal, that can be health-wise, that can be financial, that can be relationship, whatever that is preventing you to take the next step in your journey. You got to be very honest with yourself and figure out and try to get that out of your life. So the next step I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that you got to have the commitment to mastering the skills, right? We're sales professionals first and foremost, right? We have a lot of competition out there. So what we have to do is constantly improving, evolving, and getting better with our skills. If you decided to, let's say, hold open houses, and you want to do this for the next 3 to 4 months, do everything on your end to learn as much as possible about holding open houses, getting the most out of those open houses, right? Learning the scripts, learning the objection handlers, learning how to conduct them in a way that will help you generate the actual prospects. Same thing with expires or cancels, whether it's for sale by owners, whether it's marketing and promoting yourself on social media. It never stops. We have to be constantly improving. We have to be constantly learning. We have to constantly executing on our commitments. And this is how we're going to get better. Like when I started in real estate, I didn't know anything about real estate. If you think about it, the only thing that I knew about real estate is the fact that there's a house to sell. Great, awesome, hallelujah. The problem is most of the agents go through years and years and years and not really truly mastering the skills. It's one thing to build and develop a relationship with a friend or a family member, go show them a house or list their house. It's another to become the actual professional. Go out there and do lead generation, lead conversion, marketing, and going out there and actually consistently selling homes for a living. So mastering skills, guys, is going to be one of the key things that we all got to focus on in 2024 and beyond. And I'm going to finish this episode, guys, with the last two things, okay? One has to do with the diversity. We have to learn and have the ability and capacity to overcome these adversities. We all go through seasons in life. You know, during the winter, we are busting our ass to get closer to the spring and the summer. In the summer, we are preparing and should be preparing for the winter, right? Whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's financial, health related, we all deal with adversity and we have to be able to overcome it. Unfortunately, a lot of us, we raise a white flag, we retreat and go to our comfort zone. The ones that succeed in life are the ones that are actually pushing through. They're pushing through and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They start seeing results. So the way we achieve these results is by surrounding ourselves with people that have done what we're trying to do. Being in a room with those people is very important. Throughout my career, I always have mentors, coaches, or individuals that guided me, that supported me, but also hold me accountable. And that's something that you may want to consider doing as well. The path to success is not easy, and it takes time. We got to go through a lot of things. And many times we question and we get discouraged and we possibly even give up. But there's also the alternative. And the alternative is to be surrounded with the individuals that really truly want you to succeed. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I hope it serves you in your journey in becoming a top real estate agent 2024 and beyond. Huge favor for you guys. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs by March 28th. That's my birthday. So hit that sub button, guys, or that like button. I would love to hear from you guys with your comments and questions. See you next time.